What's happening, everybody? It's Zine back for another deck profile, and the deck we're going to talk about today is Bastion. One of my favorite decks to get into for standard, and it was a whole lot of fun to make. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, everyone, to get started, let's go into the ride line. Of course, we went with the generic ride line for Bastion. I just like how it looks. I love the card art, especially since I was able to get these on the ride line for cheap, except for the grade 3 itself. Honestly, wish I could, but it's all good, so I don't mind that factor. But of course, we're gonna go with the generic ride line of the grade 0 to the grade 1. And then of course I love the grade 1 and the grade 2, because once you go to the grade 2 you get to reveal up to two on grade 3s from your hand to reveal the top card of your deck to see if it's a unit card to call to the board. Most of the time you always hit triggers when you use that ability. It sucks though, but that one time where it's the silver lining and you get that grade 3 that you want to hit to the board, it's satisfying, I ain't gonna lie. And then of course we're gonna go into a chord. Accord would be my best choice for that because it's one of the best bastions that you got in the deck, in my honest opinion. That's just me saying that. But once you go from grade 2 to grade 3, of course, this skill kicks in for the grade 2 because this inherits the original bastion's name, where you gotta reveal 3 grade 3s and then you just draw a card. Free stuff, you gotta love it out here. Now, as far as the deck itself, of course, we gotta go with 4 of the grade 4 Bastion Primes. You gotta go with that for the fact of, 1, it's a good finisher, and on 2, you're gonna need pieces of Bastion to help make the grade 3 work in this deck. But the whole point of the grade 3 is to have a Bastion in hand to ditch for fodder. And let's say you didn't want to ditch for fodder and you don't push them to 4 damage or so. So that's where you would just go into this instead, just as a finisher, just completely just wipe the floor with them. And you'll get at least 5 attacks as long as you check a grade 3, which the whole deck is going to be running grade 3. So, well, not just grade 3s, but grade 3s and up, which would means that you hit a Bastion, you got your skill off. So of course you're going to want to run 4 of these. Then of course you're going to have 3 more of our boy, because you got to love Persona riding. Persona riding is always a wonderful thing, and it helps to get bigger numbers. And the one thing this deck is good about without Persona riding is numbers, but Persona rides definitely help this deck, of course, with that. Then one of my other favorite cards in the deck, this grade 3. This dragon has saved my life multiple times when it comes to not just shield value, but just hitting numbers. On your just regular turn without Persona riding, it's a 28k by itself, because the Vanguard ability gives rear guard grade 3s 5k, plus he just gains 10k for itself. So that's a 20k beat stick, 28k beat stick by itself that just stays on the board as a 28. That's what makes it so stupid. So usually folks will say, I want to get rid of it fast, and their only option is to swing hard, which means if they're willing to swing at this for itself, they're willing to get rid of a big power number that they probably just getting ready for to hit you with. So that's a good thing. And on top of it, my favorite part is that the fact that this thing can be a 10k shield, which is a wonderful thing. It can also be something else, which I will reveal later on in this video as well. Of course, we got other shield values that we can add to the deck thanks to those grade 4s. You got these. Of course, this dragon helps when you just want to ditch it, going to your grade 3, so that way you can just draw a card to get back, or when you want to turn like some of your grade 3s on your board into boosters. It's very nice. Or my other favorite part, which it's a 15k shield. All you gotta do is reveal a grade 4 or be on a grade 4, and there you go, 15k shield added to that. But it can also be more for something else that I gotta reveal later on in this deck profile. Then of course we gotta have our main boy, Alden. Alden's always going to be the main card to help you just draw into cards, and then also get better numbers, for the fact of, as long as you have 3 grade 3 units, it just gains 5 on attack. So the more times it attacks, the more time it gains power. Also, for the fact of, it helps you just get cards out of deck and keeps your hand pretty stable. So you call 2, draw 2, so your hand just doesn't change thanks to this card. Then some tech options that I did, which is Sages. Sages is a very good card to just apply pressure. It's one of my favorite tech cards just to have, just to really apply pressure, because the best part about his ability is once per turn, which means you can choose when to do it. So that's the other thing we gotta remember. Once per turn skills mean you can choose when to do it, especially if you have an ability to restand or reuse that unit. That's definitely a good plus for this card. Also, his ability to just, it punishes your opponent to if they hit a trigger, offensive or defensively. Offensively, it turns this into shield value. If they hit it defensively, this just becomes a bigger number that they have to deal with, and that's just a problem for them in the end. And that's just a good way to say, well, you hit a trigger, pressure. And applying pressure in this game is kind of one of the biggest things to help draw their hands, so that way they can just get rid of it and saves time for you later on, so you can apply more pressure with other cards. Then of course I take in one of the original Bastion for, as you say, just extra fodder, so that way I can just have something to ditch for a Bastion skill. And then of course I run one of this order. This order is just good and helpful for getting an extra drive check or just like an extra card in hand. I love it. I would run more, but I kind of just like having it as a one-of, because I don't want to depend on getting this card. And on top of it, if you use that original ride line and hit this, that's it. That's the only one you got to worry about. And I'd rather not just hit like another version of that in my deck, so I'd rather just have one just for that case. Then we're just gonna go straight to grade 1s, because I don't run any grade 2s besides the ride line itself. We're gonna go, of course, into the Elementaria and the 3 PGs. Always have those. Elementaria is pretty self-explanatory. When you're dealing with Stride decks out there, you know how that is. Then, of course, the promo of the Owl. One of the best cards in the deck to me, because it counts as a grade 3, so it helps out with a lot of consistency situations of, oh, I didn't hit a grade 3. No, you did. Drive check a grade 3. I drove check a grade 3. That counts as one. Oh, Alden's ability. I need to call a grade 3. It's a grade 3 when it hits the board. Best thing ever about it. And on top of it, it's a counter charger for the deck, which the deck needed tremendously. And it just gives your Vanguard an extra 5k. Gotta love that. The best part is the 5k to the Vanguard, as long as you put a grade 3 into your soul, if you just want that extra kick for it, that works. And then that's to add extra to the deck, to that card, it's a 10k on board. Love that. Just gotta love that. Now here's the weird thing that people are gonna have an issue with. And I personally like this grade 1 tech because it has clutch saved me multiple times. This card right here, Knight of Heavenly Signs. She has an ability where when you put this on guard circle, if your Vanguard is Bastion, you can move any grade 3s on your circles to guard circle. Now, how does that help you in that situation? I'm glad you asked. It helps if this is on the board, because if they hit a trigger, this is a 10k shield. So if you use this, it comes to the guard circle and gains 5. That turns this into a 15k shield. If this is on board, because if you read the wording of this card, it says if it's put on guard circle, which means if you put it from here to guard circle, it turns itself into a 20k shield. So you have that situation. And then of course, don't forget the dragon, because this can become a 15k shield as well, all because of this card. Because you sometimes might have grade 3s, you're just like, what do you do with them? And you might want to replenish your board. You might not have good guard in your hand. Well, this helps with that situation of turning these 3 cards into better guards for your deck, which means you have more guard options to worry about in your deck now. And it's just one of my favorite grade 1s to put in this deck. Honestly, I don't understand why I don't see more decks running more of it, because it's a very good card, but in my opinion, it's helped me a lot of times in this game, and I just love it. I would not change that. Now, of course, for the trigger lineup, pretty self-explanatory. We did, of course, the effect crits, because so gotta love that. 3 random, just regular crits. I'm sorry, I said 3. I meant to say 4 random, because I like having 8 crit in the deck. 8 crits always good to have, like apply pressure. Gotta love that. And then of course, I run 3 draws because draws always help in this deck when you want more cards in hand. Get to hit them, get to have them. 4 generic heals because you can use effect heals as you want to, but generic heals don't hurt me in the end, and I like them. It's very simple to use. And of course, the over trigger will be the original Keter over trigger, because the fact that I'm running grade 3s means more cards out of deck, more draw checks. And of course, if you hit that on your Vanguard skill, Vanguard, and then hit the skill to restand one of the grade 3s, then you ain't got to worry about paying for the skill of Bastion or the red text of Bastion. That's active, so you ain't got to worry about doing all that, and you just get draw checks anyway. So it's just an easy way to just say extra draw checks. And that would be the deck profile that I have for everybody. Alright everyone, that's the end of the deck profile. I hope you liked it. If you want to see more deck profiles, just like, comment, subscribe, and I'll definitely keep putting more. Also, definitely please comment. I would like good pointers on decks that I might want to fix once I start posting more deck profiles. But until then, catch you later.